If we the people can't get together and fight back in a way that is going to keep our children and ourselves, for that matter, healthy against the hundreds of millions or billions of dollars in advertising, the companies who want us to buy and eat their products that will make us sick and kill us, if we can't get together and do something about that, say something about that, we getting together, of course, something called government, then who can? Greg Beato is with us with the Reason Institute, Reason Magazine, Reason.com. Hey, Greg, Big Brother is now our diet coach. So what?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on the show, Tom.
Sure. Thanks for showing up.
It's now our diet coach. So what? That was the question that led me to really start thinking about, how did it get to be our diet coach? Because it didn't seem like that big a deal. What I'm talking about specifically, of course, is this new tool that the federal government has developed called SuperTracker. And what it basically is a calorie counter and weight management piece of software that you can enter in all the food you eat and see how many calories a day you are consuming and also how many calories a day you're burning through exercise, and try to manage your weight that way.
Right.
And so, I saw it and I said, oh, that's interesting. They're trying to do that. These things have been around for a while. And then I started, kind of wondering, it's actually kind of weird that the government wants to be, my physical trainer.
I agree with you on that. And here's why. I think that the government, here's the problem. If we, the people, actually want to help ourselves get healthy, because we all have an interest in this, right? Every time somebody gets cancer in this country, it costs you and me. It costs all of us. Every time somebody shows up at an ER because they don't have health insurance, or because their eating habits are off the scale and they're making themselves sick, or because they're smoking and they're making themselves sick, whatever. Every time they show up at an ER, it costs you and me, Greg. So we have an interest in helping Americans to be healthy. And the problem is that the government agencies, that we have asked to help us figure out how to get healthy, put together the food pyramid or whatever, this kind of stuff. Tell us how to eat. You guys do the research. We need somebody to do the research, impartial, somebody who doesn't have an axe to grind, somebody who's not going to make any money off it, to tell us what should be. Those people are, of course, controlled to a certain extent by politicians who are in office, and they are scared to death. You had the situation where the food pyramid has been reinvented over and over again over the years. Dairy goes on, dairy comes off, dairy goes on. It's all the result of changing administrations and changing lobbyists. You've got agencies that should be saying to us, if you eat fast food, everything in moderation. You want to eat at McDonald's? Fine. But if you're going to do it every day because it happens to be the cheapest food in your neighborhood and you're poor, you are going to end up obese. And not just, fill in the blank, not just McDonald's, any of this junk food that's out there. Right. Fast food. But the problem is that the federal agencies can't say that, because if they say that, those corporations will have right-wing politicians go after them, go after the government, and will take down the politicians who are basically protecting those agencies. And as a result of that, what we have is nothing but corporate propaganda.
Well,
how do we stop that?
I would put different. You said a lot there. I would put different, perspective on a lot of what you said. I do agree that one of the really interesting things about the way this policy has evolved is that it grows out of the USDA, the Department of Agriculture, which historically its job was to get people to eat more, to increase agricultural production, which basically means to increase the amount of food people eat.
Well, no, not true. The Department of Agriculture's original job was to make sure that the food supply was safe. And then the promotion part became promoting the interests of farmers. And now that, of course, has become captive to the oligarchy of ADM and whatnot, the giant food companies and Monsanto and whatnot. And again, this is another example of giant corporations capturing government agencies. And I know libertarians and objectivists like yourself think it's wonderful if we have a nation run by giant corporations and the billionaires who own them. I don't think so, because they're not answerable to me. I want somebody who's answerable to me. If I show up at ADM and start picketing the fronts of their offices, they'll have me arrested. If I go to the CEO and say I'm going to stand here until he talks to me, they'll have me arrested. On the other hand, I can walk down the street to my congressman's office anytime I want and say, I have a message and they're going to have to take my message.
Well, I would again say you're making a lot of assumptions about what different people want. I would argue that, again, the USDA, a huge motivation for it is to get people to eat more food, more agricultural products. But
it shouldn't be. They shouldn't be out there promoting the interests of industry. They should be protecting the consumers. And if they are promoting the interests of industries, if what you're saying is correct, then that agency has lost its moral compass, and they have done so because of the influence of lobbyists and big bucks. And how do we have a government agency that actually works for you and me, for the people, rather than working for industry?
I'm saying part of what the problem is regarding the government's food policy is that it has an agency that is essentially trying to do things that compete with each other. A subgroup of the USDA is the Food and Nutrition Service. And, that's the organization that now basically is trying to get people to eat less through endeavors like Choose My Plate and the food tracker and things like that.
Right.
But it is still part of this bigger group, where the mandate is generally to get people to eat more.
But as I said, that's not how it was set up. That's not how it was envisioned. I mean, are you familiar with Sinclair Lewis's The Jungle?
Sure.
I mean, you know how the USDA came into being.
Upton Sinclair, not Sinclair.
Upton Sinclair. Thank you. I always confuse the two of them. That's how it came into being. Was the slaughterhouses and the food processing was so poisonous that not only was it inhumane and awful to the workers, but it was killing people. And that's why they came into being, was to protect us. And over the years, there's been more and more corporate influence creeping into government. How do we create a government that is answerable to you and me rather than the billionaires?
Well, I don't think it is through creating food tracking programs.
I agree. So how do we do it? How do we get the influence of the billionaires out of our government?
Well, it might be, again, what I'm here to talk about, I think, is how did the government get to the point where it is now serving food to 3 times as many people a day as McDonald's is?
Well, in part, that's because we've pursued Reaganomics for 30 years, and we're now in a Great Depression.
Yeah, I would disagree there. I think the food stamp program, which is, gone from a $35 billion program in 2008 to a $70+ billion program in 2011.
Because of the Bush Great Depression, yeah. Of course.
It's been because of specific policies pursued in order to try to influence people's diet.
No, it's because the last 12 months that surrounded the departure of George Bush from office, that last 12 months, we were losing between 500 and 800,000 jobs every single month. And every one of those jobs represented, in many cases, an entire family, 2, 3, 4 people having to go on food stamps. And when you add that up, you're talking about millions of people.
I think that's part of it. I also think if you actually look at the numbers,
there were more people on food stamps under George Bush than there are on Barack Obama right now.
There were more people?
There were more people on food stamps under George Bush than under Barack Obama right now. The economy's actually gotten better.
No, that's totally incorrect.
Greg, check it out.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
We'll be back. Reason.com, by the way, for Greg's writings.